The theory of everything solved. How to break the seventh seal, found in the Bible. How to find life in the universe. How to be found in the universe. How to bring back the dead. And how to time travel. By Andrew Johnston, mind tripper, and a native Algonquin son. The World Pulse Project. I will start with the conclusion. You ever sit down and a ray of sunshine enters your house? And all of a sudden you see specks of dust. They are always there but can't be seen without light. Smoke does the same thing. Collectively we agree that there is a God or gods or humans who became gods and left Earth, or aliens who have visited Earth, or there has to be life outside of Earth. When we do not talk about how we got there to this conclusion, we are in agreement. Science and math have proven that the human collective is never wrong. Relativity is the most important concept to understand what is real and how everything is related to one another. And so the first thing to understand about relativity is that anything alive that has left Earth, be it Jesus or other gods or aliens, or any life that has landed on Earth, is bound to relativity. The further away a life form gets from Earth, the less relevant Earth becomes. After a while, Earth is no longer relative. They have seen or witnessed bigger reality events. Wonder so great is not worth looking back. The grass is greener on the other side. The same principle that made us travel the world to get us to where we are now. They literally forgot about Earth, or vice versa. Any being landing on Earth would forget their planet. In other words, they could no longer relate to home and where their home is or was. From our perspective, we are lost to them, and from their perspective, they, Jesus and company, are lost in space, evenness. They can't find us. Are we as a world in agreement that all our resources should be used to save the planet now? As in, we stop everything we are doing and actually do something today? And since a problem cannot be solved at the same level at which it was created, we will be unable to resolve this issue. It is now bigger than us. The problem of climate change and the sixth mass extinction was created by the three levels above us: religion, politicians, and corporations. They are not here to save us, or else there would be no problem. We, the rest of the people, are not part of the problem, so we can solve it without them. That is our duty to life and the future. So I imply to use Murphy's Law, in that the simplest solution is always the best. We as a world put our energy into making ourselves more visible in space to attract a higher level that would be able to resolve this problem. I have the solution. Well, comets have the solution. They are able to outshine our sun. And here on Earth, we have all the ingredients to reproduce this frozen ocean water. It would be like turning on a lighthouse so they could find their way to us through all the false images in space. It would be done in real time because everything is on a periodical cycle. This would be an outlier event marking us as real time zone, a universal time. I.e., we have no reason to be shining, so it could only mean life was doing this. From their perspective, in other words, they would be motivated to look our way. Because it would look like our planet is being consumed by our sun 7.5 billion years too soon, breaking the laws of nature or time. Incidentally, this could be used as a reverse principle to find life. A planet giving the appearance of being consumed by a star too soon can only be done by something living. Like the star Betelgeuse is more likely a planet since the way it shines changes in such dramatic ways. Doing this will result in all the world having a shared reality. Our differences would be put aside because we would be witness to something so magnificent. So filled with meaning and purpose, finding the answer as to why we exist. What is more important than this? knowing why we exist. The seventh seal, Revelations. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven, about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it, with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into earth. And there were voices and thundering and lightning and an earthquake, and seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The scene above describes the opening of space using a comet. The golden censer is a comet flying around the world, leaving behind its trail. The incense of God is putting H2O and salt into space. Frozen ocean water is our comet. In order to fit into what some of you call heaven, even would be better, like angels or angles, the way we approach a problem, or into the space above, we have to raise the Earth's ceiling. And by putting comets into space, we would raise the ceiling, and so the world would have room to grow. It would be the start of extending our atmosphere into space, so that given time, all other planets and moons would be under our atmosphere. We would be able to breathe in space. Space is in actuality the easiest environment to explore. It is a level playing field, no gravity, equality at its purest form. Those leading us into space have no clue how to find life. They are leading us ass backwards, like entering a cave with no light. Space is the easiest place to bring masses together and have them fit as one. Going back to the seventh seal, by doing this, sound would travel in space, bringing soundness back. Planets and moons would be able to have their voice back and hear one another. Right now, the sun controls sound. We would bypass this. Space is the biggest entity, the biggest organ, like our skin. It has the smallest mass, but it is an inverse relationship with itself, so it has the biggest mass. It's connected to everything. When space touches a planet or moon, when there is no light present, it invades and fills every space, leaving no room for life to grow. Life is in many ways a lot like space. We are made in its image. A niche is the space occupied by life. And so life has filled every niche on Earth, keeping space at bay. That is why life is a constant. We have been around continuously in an unbroken chain for billions of years, something that statistically should not have happened unless we are sheltered. Because at some point we become a fundamental need. Anything that falls into a constant is of great importance to the universe. Humans are now at the top. We no longer have meaning and an understanding of what it is we should do now. Until now, we have to bring light to space. A journey started long ago that we need to pick back up to carry us forward. Space would turn from cold-blooded to warm-blooded. We would become the heartbeat of the universe. When we light up space, death will have no place to hide. Life and death will have to face each other. At this point, there is only one reality. Everything that has died has to come back to life. In other words, by lighting up space, there would be room for all the masses of the past to coexist with us. The collective sight would be the first time that the life present today would witness the same event. So collectively, all humans would share one point common, one shared relativity moment. We would be in full agreement for the first time. At this point, moving forward is all that matters. We have brought the future to our doorstep. We can't change the past, but we can change the future. So here's an important exercise in relativity. Like mentioned above, the Earth is destined to be consumed by the Sun in 7.5 billion years. The Earth is like a moth, the magnetic fields being her wings. She's heading straight for the brightest light, so other planets that appear dead got too close to a star and got burned up. Like we are naked, they are naked. The relativity part is that we can change the future. By lighting up space with the cool light of comets, and we keep doing this, she will stop heading towards the sun, because it will no longer be the brightest light in space. Our comets will be. Death, life, dying is only a reality because the Earth dies. So if we can stop the planet from dying in the future, death can't occur. This reality is removed, so the timeline at this point has to realign on all the possibilities from the past to now. Nothing or no one would have died, so everything has to come back together, alive and living. Here's one more exercise in reality. A native son got lost in the woods and decided to make a fire to be seen. At the same time, another lost native daughter is lost and also decides to make a fire to be seen. The first son lights his fire and looks up and sees the fire. The native daughter lights her fire and looks up and sees the fire. They meet in the middle, both so happy because they realize that they had discovered a great way to communicate. So I am a native son, but also an ecologist. The study of living and non-living things and the relationship between them and their environment. For 33 years, I have studied how to find every life form on Earth. The final relativity is the convergence that happens in evolution. With this, I will prove that convergence happens independently on a large scale, a universal scale. What I mean by this is that because I have thought of this idea, when we light up space, when we light up the comets in space, another life form will have thought of exactly the same thing as me, meaning that they will light their comets at the same time. They will think we understand them. We will think we understand them. We will conclude the same thing at the same time. We have filled every space on Earth. We are made in the image of space. This will be space meeting space, like a kiss. When two mouths touch, there is no space, just a light touch of love. Incidentally, we have to raise the veil up to kiss. And I suppose, yes, we will be a little naughty looking under the universe's skirt, lifting up the big black beard, lifting up the long black hair. Like we lost our body hair, the universe will lose its hair. Humans are naked because we played with fire. Amazing how hair burns. Amazing how light once again will undress her. Everything in space has perpetual motion, meaning perpetual free energy. The potential energy is always realized. The comets we put in space, I suggest we start with frozen ocean water and pieces of glaciers and icebergs. When I was a shepherd, I learned to farm using biodiversity, many different animals and many different plants growing and working together. The comets are the first steps to create a garden in space, providing water and a cool light. The H2O will bring the space dust together, giving points for life to anchor and grow. The H2O will separate in space and eventually stabilize to reach the sun, balancing the system. It will warm up. Back to perpetual motion. We spin comets on their own orbit so they stay in place, and we have a convection current. Invisible elevators that can transport energy for free. In space, we all have the same mass. We are equals. To get notice, we do not stop there. Space is a blank canvas for all artists of the world. For example, we use technology to create a giant light show in space. For example, projecting a giant cat. We all love cats. We fill it with colors, even things like figuring out how to put smell into space so it can taste for the first time. Space is the virgin, has not experienced much. In reproduction, animals and plants use song, colors, tastes, and flashes of light. So we do the same thing. We light a space to showcase ourselves to the universe. So this little speck of dust can find a mate, can be seen. Our purpose has always been to bring light to the darkness. Even though we are on the surface of Earth, we are still at the bottom of an ocean. We send comet lights throughout space to create trade routes. Lighting up space will force the universe to take a picture in real time. There are a lot of false images in space because light is reflecting off things. There are a lot of false images on Earth cast by false shadows. The cool lights of the comets will reveal what is historically called the halos, the gravity and magnetic field around us, so sensitive to sunlight to be seen. Comets will start making these visible. If you can't see something, it is because it is sensitive. To so many things, it's invisible. Meanwhile, if we were to use geometry to find planets with life, you would take Earth as a point, and from the center of Earth, you put a honeycomb and let it grow. There has to be a honeycomb pattern in space because it's the most efficient way to transmit information. Maybe another way is to put Earth as a point on a honeycomb. Any which way, finding the honeycomb pattern in space will be a star map for life. We have to be part of this pattern. I once put myself in the shoes of an Egyptian. I started with the top. I put the top of the pyramid on the sand, and I dug the sand away to add the other blocks. Once the pyramid was built, it was filled with sand, which I took away to enter. I was a druid and did the same thing. I placed the pillars on the ground, dug a hole, and put the pillars in the hole. Then put the tops on, and once again I dug all the ground around, and it was left. And I called it Stonehenge. I am a child of relativity. I can relate to everything. If you seek perfection, you will always make mistakes. I was 13 when my first song came into my head. I could see all the words in guitar parts. At this point, I had never played music. I picked up the guitar and the song played itself. I instantly knew how to play music. Like a file was downloaded, and I was the program playing it. 3 days later, I could play every Beatles song. By age 16, I had mastered every style with no efforts. At 40, I decided to test something. We are asked to use our natural talents and gifts. I thought to myself, can I fast forward through this file? From 13 to today has been a continuous song, never ending. So I took the challenge to myself to record songs every day as fast as I could to get to the final song, which is the conclusion you just read and I just read to you. In other words, to understand a creator, you must create. I have created something every day and studied all the living and dead, creations of the earth every day too. To understand how creation works, we can only catch something living when we know how it works and lives. We light up the gates of heaven, even. Respect is earned, not given. An advanced being would be camouflaged in plain sight. I have become a book of knowledge because I have never stopped learning. Space, excluding the planets and stars, has no age. It is ageless. It was there before time arrived, so by default the Creator is hiding there. Life is the holy water, an ocean that walks on earth, but we humans are so separated, we are wholes and not whole. It is the constants of life that will move through the universe. It is life itself that will be the blood that warms it up, the actions of our thoughts. It is not the end of time. Space is ageless. It is the beginning of time, but we decide how time starts this time. The middle part, my methodology, can be found in thousands of songs I have left behind for you. Music is the best way for me to process such a vast amount of information. It's not by judging anything that I got to this point. I was able to accept everything for what it is. I suppose this is a call for action, to action. The Creator wants to see all its creation, life under the same light. Meaning it's time to light up space, so we are called to act now. I have found life every day.